A fascinating glimpse into French army life can be provided by one of their many trench newspapers, de la Pépin, or Journal Guerre du 359 Régiment des Infanteries, or Mary newspaper of the 359th Infantry Regiment. The first issue dates to the 21st of April 1916, 2 days before Easter. The front page features the Les Offres de Pâques, or the Easter egg, which lists the regiment's officers next to what each should ideally receive in their offrey, drawing on a French Easter tradition of exchanging confectionery eggs containing surprise gifts. As with some of the British trench newspapers such as the Whippers Times, missing letters have been replaced with punctuation marks, perhaps due to a shortage of letters in the print. For Russian, Eastern Orthodox and Eastern European and even some Central European troops, the Easter festival was of greater importance than that of Christmas. Therefore, this is a particularly fitting time to dig out one of the testimonies of someone who witnessed an Easter truce on the Eastern Front in 1916, Friedrich Kohl. Friedrich Kohl was serving as a medical officer with the Hungarian regiment in Galicia, where Russian and Austro-Hungarian forces were facing each other in entrenched conditions similar to that of the Western Front. In 1981, in a letter to Malcolm Brown and Shirley Stenston, as they were working on material for their books and television programs Peace in No Man's Land, Kohl recalled the events of Easter Day, 1916. The winter of 1915 to 1916 was severe, and when I joined my regiment at the end of February in the country was covered in deep snow. No military action was possible. The thaw set in, and the peace-stop artillery duels between the Austrians and the Russian army started, sometime by day, but more frequently during darkness. Then suddenly, on Easter Sunday, about 5 o'clock in the morning, about 20 Russians came out of their trenches waving white flags, carrying no weapons and baskets and bottles. One of them came quite near, and one of our soldiers went to meet him and asked what he wanted. He asked whether we would not agree to stop the war for a day or two, and in view of Easter, meet between the lines and have a meal together. We told him first we need to answer military authorities whether such a meeting would be possible. The divisional commander refused permission. Nevertheless, at 12 o'clock at noon, the Russians came out of their trenches and brought with them their military bands, who came playing at full strength, and they brought the baskets of food and bottles of wine and stereotypically vodka, and we came out too and had a meal with them. We also had food and wines to offer. During the meeting, both sides seemed to be embarrassed, but both sides were polite to each other and consumed the food and drinks we offered to each other. After a few hours, we went quietly back to our trenches. I talked with a colonel who spoke perfect German, and he told me he lived for several years in Vienna. When I asked him why he was always firing artillery shrapnel at my first aid post, he told me he knew exactly where it was. He promised to leave me alone, and he would send me a rocket if he had to leave. For the next 14 days, I was left unmolested. And then he sent me a rocket telling me that his unit was leaving. Kohn survived the ensuing Brusilov offensive of May of that year. He survived the First World War, and he later survived imprisonment by the Nazis before the Second World War. In his letter to Brown and Stenton, he concluded that, I have seen demonstrated in front of my own eyes that suddenly people who are trying to kill each other and will try to kill each other when the day is over are still able to sit together and talk to each other. Samine blog, God mit un, vivas unitas, Foslik Ostadin. Happy Easter. God bless. Learn something. I hope the Russians don't become an atheist communist state, you know, because I mean it would kind of ruin the moment. Silo shin rosa dinayo. Here we go again. I don't know, memes. Learn something. We should do a music episode.